Welcome back to The Division 2. I have titled this video saying that you must watch it if you've ever played this game because this is a really important topic. It's possibly the fall of The Division 2, and I'm not going to go into detail. You're not going to see any articles or anything like that on the screen, but this is based on just Ubisoft and Massive as a whole, and the fact that Ubisoft are not happy with anything Massive are doing. So there is a huge possibility that there's still money, actual real money purchases involved with this game, and that's why I'm sharing this information, because I've had people recently comment saying, is it worth coming back to this game? Is it worth paying money for the expansion? And if it's the case of the possibility of Massive and Ubisoft as a whole stopping supporting this game, then those people are potentially wasting their money. So what I've actually done is written down a few notes, and then I was carrying on with notes and I got carried away, so I just pretty much scripted a commentary towards the end of it. But the first note is, the developers for the game themselves, they're not happy with how it's going, how it looks, how it feels, how it plays, everything like that. They are not happy. Ubisoft are cutting a lot of positions, they're moving different departments around, and they're changing them with a few of their studios. So it's not just Massive Entertainment, it's Ubisoft are trying to set themselves up for the future of the company, because I've also heard, this is all based on research and hearing things, so it might not be 100% accurate, but they are apparently planning to go all digital within the next 10 years. So there's a lot of stuff they're changing to try and basically carry on as a company and do well. The Division 2 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are aware of this, but they didn't make anywhere near as many sales as what was set, their target. They didn't make anywhere near enough money, which is part of the reason why Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Gods and Monsters was delayed. That's a big part of the reason those games were delayed. Ubisoft are basically losing a lot of money because of the lack of game sales, because people they're not interested. Gaming's just changing, it's forever evolving, there's a lot of stuff changing within the industry, and if Massive don't make enough money by Q2 2021, so the end of the financial year, which is March 31st, and I believe it'll, because it's the second quarter, it'll go through to June. If they don't make enough money when the new earnings report comes in, then Ubisoft are likely to stop supporting the game. They'll just cut it and that'll be it. I've also read that Massive have another year or two's worth of content lined up, but they've been told to prolong the times between each piece of content, similar to how Destiny 2 do it. So the season pass is lasting longer than what they wanted to, the content not coming out as often as they want, let alone players. And that seems to be the reason why we do get a story for each of the seasons, even though it's not a story we like. It's the manhunt, you get different targets and stuff. But they've created a story to try and make it more interesting. They're putting exotics in, they're recycling their content, and it's just because this game, for a long time, players have said that this game's going to go nowhere, it's going to die off, but then at the same time, a lot of players had hoped that it would make the comeback Division 1 did, and that's still a possibility. This isn't a guarantee that the game's going to stop being supported. They will possibly reveal a major DLC or an expansion towards the end of this year, if things are going well, because the game is still currently supported. So we can still see that, and like Warlords, it come out for year 2, so it was around March time, right at the beginning of March, they announced it just before. So any time from now up until February really, they could reveal a major DLC or an expansion type content, piece of content. I've got absolutely no idea what's happening with Avatar, and if Massive will be allowed to continue development, if they're going to be forced to sell the game off to someone, or something like that. And because of all of this, I highly doubt that Division 3 is being worked on. So everyone thinking, hoping that Division 3 comes out and saves the franchise from the mess that Division 2 is, I highly doubt that's going to happen. The problem with this, and I do feel bad for some of the devs, it's not the whole company that are going to be working on this stuff and not putting in the effort, because there are some devs that really don't care. But you've got to think, it's not just the devs, it's the higher-ups as well. So all the people at Ubisoft, they pretty much give directions to stuff, and if the devs aren't happy, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs if this is the case and the game's not supported anymore. There's already people being, their contracts aren't being renewed and stuff. But if the devs aren't happy with their job, they're not going to do a good job. The motivation, the morale within the company is all going to be down. So the DLC is not going to be released bug-free or anything like that. Technical support is not going to be as helpful as they should be. But then at the same time as it might not be the devs' faults, if they did more at the start of the game and they actually put the time and effort in, if they just listened to us and they passed ideas on to the higher ups, then the game might have done better. Look how long people have been asking for survival in Division 2, and the devs just said no. If they put their resources in and made a good version, like Mark 2 of survival, this game would have done so much better, so many more sales, because survival is, like it always has been pretty much, the most played piece of content on Division 1. People still play it to this day. Skyscraper and TU11 should be their start to trying to turn it around and correct the problem with the game, but I can see it being the final straw for a lot of players. Like a lot more people than what have already left. If they don't absolutely nail it, they have to get it spot on, and I really don't think they're going to. Just because of their lack of passion they've shown for ages. You've got developers taking the piss when they're on State of the Game and stuff. They've got, like, there's misinformation. The developers don't read from the notes properly. There's miscommunication, even within them on the streams. Like, State of the Game has been a shambles for a little while now. But not just that, their track records. They don't have a very good record for releasing working content and a working product. Not only that, there's a chance that it could all just be copy-paste and recycled, so it could be lackluster, nowhere near enough rewards or anything that players want. And it might just suck in general. Skyscraper might just be shit. Title Update 11 might not feature any changes that the community actually want. And at the same time, if you think of what's currently going on with the PTS, like the PTS isn't even available yet, and they're already making changes because of immediate feedback, that's not the right thing to do. They should have run 100% on the random first attribute, seen how it went, and then took feedback and carried on from there, because they even said it's not out yet. So why are they making changes before it's released? And this isn't me hating, this is me just, like, sharing information, letting you guys know that if you're making purchases, be careful, because there is a chance this game will no longer be supported as of, like, the second quarter of next year. The proof is all there that they've never listened to the community, just with everything, like survival being the main thing. They said loads of players cried out for the appearance mods. There was only a handful of people that ever spoke about it. It was a lot more survival and other game modes that have replayable content, and they never did it. Granted, it would have cost them a lot more money to actually develop that stuff. But if they put that effort in and did that closer to the launch of the game, we might have a game mode now, and the game would be in a much better position. Like, a much, much better position. The one thing I don't understand is why they tried taking a whole new direction with this game. They should have, as players thought in the beginning, they should have just copy and pasted. They had a great foundation with Division 1, and they tried all these different things, and they caused unnecessary problems for themselves, and look at where it's got them. So from all of this, and this is the part where I've scripted, so I'm literally just going to read it from here. It looks like this game, the Division 2, will not be around for much longer, and some of you are going to be over the moon. Like, some of you hate this game, but you've got to think that this game is one of a kind, and that's a big reason as to why players are still on this game daily. If you can tell me, if you can leave in the comments, name one game that is anything like the Division 2. You won't get it. You'll have other looter shooters, but that's the genre. You don't have a game with this sort of a setting, the background, the story, anything like that. They're all completely different, and it's going to share some features. But if you can tell me a game that I can just go and load up, and it will feel similar to playing the Division 2, I'm happy to hear it. But I guarantee you can't. This game is one of a kind. And that is a big reason that players get addicted to it, players love it. Then because of all the problems in the game, and players love it so much, and they have a passion for the game as a player, part of the community, that's why all the hate begins. And I've said this from the beginning. I love the game. I hate how the devs took it. Like, just tried paving a path for this game that was just never ever going to work. And I just want to point out now that, yes, I know these developers are in a hard, position at the moment, but under absolutely no circumstances will I show these devs support if it's not warranted. I'm not going to spend my money on their DLC to try and help them stay in work and developing the game That's completely up to them. That's entirely up to them. If they do a good job, they'll keep their jobs. If they don't and they continue to do what they've done for the last 18 months, they'll be out of a job. That's not my fault, not my problem. I don't care. It's up to them to turn this shit around. And it's not up to any of you either. We're all in exactly the same position. If we want this game to survive, we can obviously support them and everything like that. But you've got to think, if you go out and you spend money on DLC to try and support these devs, it's going to go one of two ways. If you're doing it, the developers are desperate, they're going to charge for every piece of content they possibly can. They're just going to continue, like, if they do manage to keep the game running and keep Ubisoft supporting it, then they're just going to continue making exactly the same content they had before because they got away with it. If you don't support it, the game will close down. If you do, it's going to go one of two ways. The devs will either put their asses into gear and actually do what they should have done from the launch, or they're just going to continue to take the piss. They're going to release rushed content that's all broken, and they're just basically going to bypass the possibility of the studio closing down or the game not being supported anymore. They'll get another year out of it, and then it'll be reviewed again. So when it comes to the desperate times, they'll take desperate measures, and they'll probably release Survival at some point just to get players on board so they're making enough money, and then they're in business still. There's a few different factors, but under no circumstances am I going to show support unless I feel it's validated. If they make a good, solid DLC or bring in a new mode or their title update's good, then I'm more than willing to promote it, be positive about it, and show that they're actually making a change. But we had Season 2, copy and paste, everything from the premium track that you pay for was available just by playing the game. Then we had Title Update 10, and they were supposed to fix the loot. They didn't bother, so 10.1 come out. They supposedly fixed the loot, and that dropped off in a couple of weeks. It slowly started degrading over time, and it got to where it is now, and that's nowhere near what it was on the day of release. And so they did do a couple of good things, and I did a video, I pointed out, this is the best update they've ever done. The loot was amazing on day 1 of 10.1. But it slowly degraded, and it went back to square one. It wasn't how it was supposed to be, and they don't even know their own systems that they've created for this game. They don't know half of them, so they're just sitting there fiddling with coding and stuff and trying to make things work. The business is never going to get back to where it was at the launch of this game if that's how they're going to continue to do things. They need to, as a development company, get rid of the people that are stopping the game from being where it needs to be. They've moved developers onto other projects and stuff like Chris Gansler. Where did he go? Red Storm, pretty much just ditched the game and moved on. Frederick Thylander moved on to other projects. Lots of other developers have, every single one is in the position at the moment where they're either going to be moved onto another project, still have to work on this game, or just completely sacked, no contract renewal or anything like that. As I said, with not supporting them unless I feel is validated, when I do get hands-on with Skyscraper, which should hopefully be during the PTS, which I'm hoping comes soon, if it's not working, if there's problems with it and stuff, and if I feel I don't like it, I'm not going to purchase it. They can just fucking jog on. It's as simple as that. If they're going to put a price tag on it, it's not a guarantee they're going to charge for it, but more than likely, especially with the how the company's going at the minute, they're going to try and make every possible penny they can. So if they put a price tag on it and it doesn't work how we all feel it should work, I'm not going to go, oh, I don't personally like this. If there's, for an example, 50 flaws, if I'm thinking, oh, there should be 60 flaws, it doesn't feel right, that's bollocks. That's not validated at all. It's if there's bugs, if it's broken, they need to show that they've actually put time and effort into this. If it's copy-paste, if it's literally just you go in a Skyscraper, there's different floors and it's exactly the same scenery, the same enemies and stuff. I want to see actual good content coming from Skyscraper. So if I feel it's not where it should be, and I'll be talking to you guys about it, so we'll get built up community feedback. And if I feel it's not good, I will not be purchasing it when it comes out. And I hope you guys do the same, but at the end of the day, it's your choice. You do what you want to do. But personally, I'm not going to support these devs for the sake of keeping them in a job and keeping this game alive. I will support them if they show that they can actually put passion into the game and show that they care, which they haven't done as of yet. So I think they're past it and they don't care. They're never going to care anymore. So I honestly think this game is going to fall. I've said it so many times. Like, when we heard about developers charging an extra $10 for games on the next generation of consoles, I said, it's simple. If you want to make a shit ton of money when you're creating a game, and like, I know there's a lot of money involved to begin with, the budgets are high on games or whatever, but if you look at the history of games, if you look at GTA, they made $1 billion in like 3 days. If you look at, what ones did I write down to talk about? Modern Warfare. They've got like 250 bundles or something that has gone through the store in that game. But the reason people don't kick off about their microtransactions as much is because the game's good. If you make a good game, players will be happy. They will support you. If you throw in bullshit microtransaction mechanics and stuff, and you put pay to win things in the game, if the game is that good, regardless of everyone's thoughts, some players will support you. And the better your game is, the more support you'll get. Look at Fall Guys. They are constantly on their Twitter. They're trolling big streamers like Tim the Tap Man. They are constantly talking to the community and getting involved with things. There's a lot going on within that game, and because they made a good game that players enjoy, they can continue supporting it because the game is doing well. All you have to do to make profit on a game is just put effort in and make a good game. Look at The Witcher 3. Look at Cyberpunk when that comes out. They're going to make, like, The Witcher 3 has probably made fucking hundreds of millions of profit because the game was developed so well. Cyberpunk is going to have so many sales because they've showed that they care about the community, about the game, and they've shown passion for the project they have started. So they're going to the business is going to be fucking booming for them because of the effort they've put in. They're going to be well rewarded and get what they deserve. Which is, it falls down to everything. You get what you deserve. If you don't put time and effort in, you're not going to fucking get anywhere. It's such a simple process, and developers just don't seem to look at it in that light, and they really should, because The Division 2 is proof that it's on the ropes. It could easily just be ended whenever Ubisoft fancy, and it's because they haven't shown any care for the community or the game. They just simply make shitty recycled content. And we've spoken about the recycled content. It's not all to do with Massive. It is partly Ubisoft. But because they didn't just do new things at the start of the game as well, it's fucked them up. So they've been forced to do the recycled content because they don't have enough funds and stuff to make all of this expensive stuff. And at the same time, they've made Skyscraper because they don't have funds. Is it all going to be copy-paste? Are we going to see anything new in that mode at all? It's such a, it's a confusing topic as well, because there are some things I'm going to say which sound weird and don't make sense because it's hard to understand parts of it at the same time just because of how it all works. And obviously there's more to it than just knowing developers and publishers and higher ups and stuff. There's a lot more that goes on in the companies, and some of it is really, really hard to understand. Even simple things, or things that should be simple, like changes that are coming to the game, some of those are really hard to understand, and that's what we have more experience in because it's the game we're playing. But moving on from that, Warzone has reached over 75 million players worldwide. If you look at concurrent players, not even concurrent players, but look at how many people watch The Division 2 on Twitch. And I know Twitch isn't the only platform. I know players are playing the game and not just necessarily watching. But if you look at Twitch, numbers barely ever go over 1,000. Even sometimes it's a struggle to get 500 people to watch this game on Twitch. I'm very lucky to be in the position where there are a few thousand of you that will watch every single video I post for the game. But I mean, in general, for the viewership and the interaction with this game, it's so low. I've seen the people that cover The Division 2 all the time. They do one video for Anthem. Anthem's a dead game. That gets more views. There are so many mixed things within this game and the community, but it's not in a good shape at all. And at the same time as me saying, Warzone and Fall Guys are good games, yeah, they do have their problems. Warzone's just had, some money glitch going on where people are dropping into Superstore, walking out with 200 grand. Fall Guys have had problems. There's fucking hackers. Why, like, hacking Fall Guys? It's like a party game. I don't get that part, but like, it takes time to work on these things, obviously. I'm not saying the Warzone or Fall Guys or even The Witcher 3, I'm not saying they're perfect, but they're a better example of like a good game compared to some others I could talk about. The Division 2 did have a very, very good start, but for us as the player, once the main story was over and we started reaching endgame, we were in the endgame for our characters and getting better gear. These developers, pretty much ever since the game first come out, they did the main story, which was developing the game and releasing it. Then as soon as players got to endgame, the devs got to endgame, because it was slowly starting to be the end of the game, because they've been on a downward spiral ever since. The only thing they've really done to pick things up for the game was Warlords, which again didn't last long. There has been a couple of other things like title updates that have introduced good changes, but they didn't last long either. The introduction of World Tier 5 and Tidal Basin, that was okay. You had the Year 1 pass, and there's another thing I've noticed about that. I've just got my character on PC up to level 40 recently, and without the Year 1 pass, you actually miss out on the opportunity for some targeted loot, because I checked on Xbox when I was playing, and for the DARPA Research Labs mission, there was Fenris, like the Fenris brand set was available from DARPA. I was on PC looking to get stuff together for a build ready for the PTS, and because I've got Warlords but I don't have the Year 1 pass, because I haven't played it on PC during Year 1, but because I don't have that pass, I couldn't access Fenris for that day. I couldn't farm for Fenris. There's a lot of different things, like level 30 players have been screwed over way more than 40, but across the whole game there has been lots and lots of problems with it. As I said, they should have just used the foundation of the Division 1 and improved it, like improved on it, instead of just trying all of this brand new stuff, which has obviously basically just fucking yeeted them into the bin. Also, as I said earlier, I don't think there's going to be a Division 3. Don't know what's going to happen with Avatar, just purely based on the lack of revenue from this game. But we are now going to see a desperate, massive entertainment. They're going to try everything to get as much money as they can. So as I said, be careful. There's a possibility the game won't be supported as of Q2 2021. So if you're going to buy the expansion and stuff, make sure that you're buying it because you actually want it. And just, I'd say don't get your hopes up for the future of this game, because it's on the ropes at the minute. There's a chance it might not be around. There's a chance it could be. But Massive are probably going to try everything they can to get extra money out of players because they desperately need it. Not just for the company in the game, but to keep themselves in a job. And I know it's a tough situation, but as I said, if they're not going to produce good content, I'm not going to financially support them. I stick to that, and I'm going to do the same with every game. I've said this time and time again. I'm here and I do this for the community. I don't care about these developers. If they make a good game, I'll praise it to the fucking moon and back. I will do everything for the game to try and promote it and stuff. Depending on what the developers do will depend on the content I produce. And I'm hoping, like, 2020's been pretty shit, to be completely honest. It's basically the year of the remasters. So I'm hoping devs do come out with good games. I'm looking forward to a lot of them. And even with games like The Avengers, didn't enjoy the beta, but I'm still going to give it a chance. Play the full game, I'll buy it, just to show that I am there for the start of it. But then if the developers decide to take a shitty route, then I'll kick off about it, and I'll let them know that they're taking their players and the community for granted, and they shouldn't do that at all, ever. But on that note, as I said, it's been a very hard video to basically talk about all this stuff, because I don't know all of it inside out. Some of it could be like misleading in terms of like I've either read it wrong from stuff that I've found, or it's been worded wrong, so I've taken it out of context. And not only that, like, I'm just sharing information, so I'm basically the messenger. So some of it could have got twisted in the process. Some of the articles and stuff could just be complete bullshit. You never know. But I just wanted to put the video out there to warn you guys there is a possibility that this game will fall as of Q2 next year. So just be careful with what you do. If you feel you need to support the developers and try and keep them in their jobs and stuff, go for it. No one's going to hate on you. Like, it's your opinion. You're entitled to it. You do what you've got to do. But as I've said, and I know, like, take a shot for every time I've said as I said, because I've said it quite a lot. But I'm not going to support these devs financially with any microtransaction purchase unless they can show me that the content is worth it. But on that note, that's it for the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.